Hey guys, this is our last test. This is test 17. We're going to review 1 through 10 today and then 11 through 20 on Thursday. So get ready. Let's go.
Flack math! Give me some math and I'll give you some flack. Flack math!
Okay, number 1, let's get right into it. The team's ratio of games won to games played was 2-7. If the team played 49 games, how many games did the team fail to win? In other words, how many did they lose? So when you don't know, tic-tac-toe. So here's what we're doing. We've got our wins, and let's say we're gonna have our losses, and then we're gonna have our total. Okay, these are total games played. So when it says ratio of games won to games played, we would put a 2 here, and games played as total would go there, 7. So what's the ratio? What's the number for losses? That has to be a 5. Okay, so that's something we had to figure out. All right, so this is our ratio column, and this is our actual number column. So when we look at this, 49 games, if the team played 49 games, where does that 49 go? It goes right here. And then how many games did the team fail to win? All right, fail to win is basically a fancy way to say lose, unless you're tying, but whatever. It'll work the same. So that's what's gonna go there. So this is our variable right here. So let's just choose n there. So how do we figure this out? Well, you can do a couple different methods. You could do the fish method, like 49 times 5 divided by 7, or you can realize that these are just equivalent fractions. And whatever you do to the bottom, do to the top. So this is times 7 times 7. So n equals 5 times 7, which is 35 games they failed to win. If you did 49 times 5, that's just 245 divided by 7 is 35. I promise. You can test it if you want. Number 1, done. All right, number 2, find the range, mean, median, mode. Okay, so let's do the easy ones first. First, before we do that, we gotta put everything in order. So let's reorder this. So what's the smallest number here? Looks like 41, and then it goes to 44, and then it goes to 47, and then it goes to 53, and it looks like 4 53s. And then it looks like 57, and then a 65, 69, and 70. All right, so here's what I always do to make sure I've gotten all the numbers. Count each group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we got it. So we didn't leave anything out. So remember the range. This is going to be worth 4 points, guys. So don't skip over this one. Max minus min. So your biggest number minus your smaller number, 70 minus 41 equals 29. So your range is 29. Let's come back to the mean. So the median is just the number in the middle. Okay, and luckily you have an odd number of numbers. So the number in the middle, if there's 11 numbers, is gonna be the 6th number. So right here is your median. What do you do if you have 2 numbers in the middle? If there's an even number of numbers? Well, you just find the number halfway between those 2 numbers. So the median is always one answer. It's either the number in the middle or the number halfway between the 2 numbers in the middle. So this time there's a nice number in the middle, 53. All right, mode is what appears most often. So what appears most often? Well, that was 53. There's 4 of those suckers. Okay, and then your mean is the meanest thing I could ask you to do, and that's finding the average. So you're gonna have to add all these up and divide by the number of numbers. Okay, so that's your sum, whatever that is, divided by 11, and that equals, well, let's add those up. Okay, so we get, when we add all those together, we get 605 all over 11, which is just 55. Okay, that makes sense. So that's worth 4 points. Do it. Number 3, the ratio of good guys to bad guys was 5 to 17. All right, ratio box, good guys, bad guys, and then we have a total if we need it. good guys to bad guys, so 5 to 17. So a total would be 22 if we need it. If there were 204 bad guys, so where does this guy go? That goes right here, 204. How many good guys were there? All right, no problem. Let's solve for that. So here's our proportion. 5 is to 17 as n is to 204. So you can fish method that, or you can figure out how many times 17 goes into 204, and that goes nicely 12 times. So 5 times 12 is 60. Or you can fish method. 204 times 5 divided by 17 will also get you 60. And what are they asking for? Good guys. That's sad. Good guys are outnumbered. Number 4, use a unit multiplier to convert 0.37 liters to milliliters. You don't have to do that. You can use the nice method of, well, if you have liters, you've got your deciliters, centiliters, milliliters, and then you got your decaliters, hectoliters, and kiloliters. So really you're going from here, liters to milliliters. So you're going 1, 2, 3 to the right. So you're going to move that decimal 1, 2, 3 to the right. That will give you have to add a 0 there. So that's 370 milliliters. Okay. If you want to do a unit multiplier, you can. So 0.37 liters over 1. Remember, the first step to using unit multipliers is put everything over, make a fraction out of the first measurement. Okay. And you're going to multiply by a unit multiplier that will cancel that. So we're going to put, so since there are 1,000 milliliters in a liter, then that'll cancel that, and you're left with 0.37 times 1,000. Remember, when you multiply by 1,000, you just move the decimal 3 places, so you get 370 milliliters. Boom. All right, number 5. Draw a number line and graph this solution. Okay, number line, easy. And let's see, we can draw some numbers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Over here, -1, -2, whatever. Okay, and we want to graph this. This says, so you can think of X as shade. So your solutions are what you're going to shade. So X is your shading. And you're going to say left and on top of 6. So I'm going to shade to the left of 6 and on top of 6. So I'm going to fill in that circle and I'm going to shade to the left. Okay. Boom. All right. So the biggest mistake is people filling this in or not filling it in. When you have a line under it, you fill it in. When you don't have a line under it, you don't. Another way to remember it is the more ink it takes to draw the symbol, the more ink it takes to graph it. Okay? All right, number 6. A lump of taffy was dropped into the stretching machine. 20 seconds later, it was a rope of taffy 2 feet long. At that rate, how long would the taffy rope be in 3 minutes? So let's see, it goes 2 feet per 20 seconds. Okay, so let's see what it would take to go 3 minutes. Well, 3 minutes is not the same thing as seconds. So what's 3 minutes in seconds? See, there's 60 seconds in a minute. 3 of those would be 180 seconds. Okay. All right, now we've got a proportion. We can fish method it, or we can figure out how many times 20 goes into 180. That goes 9 times. And then 2 times 9 is 18. So 18 feet it would be after 3 minutes. That's a lot of taffy. Please don't eat that in one sitting. Okay, great. Number 7. At the ball game, 38% of the fans. So how do you say 38%? Is 0.38, right? Because percents are useless. How do you say of the fans? Well, of means multiplication. And F looks like our variable. So 38% of the fans waved pom-poms, okay? So waved pom-poms, you could say, these are the pom-pom wavers, equals P. All right, if 124 fans did not wave pom-poms, how many fans were there in all? Well, if 38% did, that means, let's see, 100 minus 38 would be 62% did not. Okay, so 62% of the fans were the non-waivers, were the 124. So 124 represents 62% of the fans. Okay, well, let's just translate this and solve it. How do you say 62%? 0.62. How do you say of times? How do you say F? F. How do you say equals? Equals. And 124. So how do you get F by itself? You divide by what it's being multiplied by. So divide by 0.62. So F equals 200 fans. Okay, cool. All right, number 8, draw a diagram of this statement. You don't have to do that unless you really want to. Then answer the questions that follow. $88,000 was raised in the charity drive. This was 4/5 of the goal. What is this? That means 88,000 was 4/5 of the goal, right? So of means multiplication. Goal is our variable. The goal of the charity drive was to raise how much money? Okay, so now we can solve for G. How do we solve for G? We have to get rid of that 4/5. That 4/5 is being multiplied, so divide it. Whatever you do to one side, do to the other. So your G is 88,000 divided by 4/5. Well, how do you divide fractions? Copy dot flop. 88,000 times 5/4 equals G. Well, let's do some cross reducing because we can. So 4 goes into 88,000, 22,000 times. Okay, 22,000 times 5 is $110,000. Wow, so that's the answer to A. And then it says the charity drive fell short of the goal by what percent? All right, so how short of it was it? Well, they raised 88,000, so let's figure out what they were short in numbers. So 110,000 minus 88,000 equals 22,000. Okay, so now we want to know what percent of the goal was 22,000. Okay, well, let's translate that into math. 22,000 is what percent of the goal, which is 110,000. Okay, so let's translate it. 22,000 equals what percent of 110,000? How do you solve for P? Divide both sides by 110,000. Okay, so P equals 0.2. Okay, well, that's not a percent. So how do you change a decimal to a percent? Move it over 2 places. So that's 20%. So this is the answer to B. Okay, cool. All right, number 9, we're just gonna simplify this. When it says simplify, you're looking for a couple things. You're looking to get rid of parentheses, but you're also looking to combine like terms. Remember, you can only combine x's with x's and constants with constants. So 6x's plus 4 more x's is 10x's. And 3 plus 5 is 8. So that's all you can do there, okay? That's number 9. Number 10, find the volume of a rectangular prism whose dimensions are 10 by 6 by 4. Well, I like to draw it, so I'm gonna draw it. Okay, so this is 10 by 6 by 4 centimeters. So our volume is area of base times height. Well, the area of the base, that's just a rectangle. So how do you find the area of a rectangle? That's length times width. And then the height is just 4. So then that's just 10 times 6 times 4. which is 240 cubic centimeters. Okay. That's it for 1 through 10. We're gonna do 11 through 20 on the next day, so don't miss that. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. See you then.
Flack!